I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up health. The FDA has approved a new once-daily HIV medication called IDVYNSO. This is a simple tablet, 2-drug regimen designed for adults who are already undetectable and stable in their HIV care. For decades, most HIV treatment has relied on a 3-drug combination. IDVYNSO changes that. It is not based on integrase inhibitors and is completely tenofovir-free. This new medication performed just as well as one of the leading treatments, Biktarvy, in clinical trials, maintaining viral suppression in the vast majority of patients. So this is not just innovation, but confirmation that fewer drugs can still deliver the same outcome. Staying undetectable. Now, let's bring this into the real world. Here in Broward County and across South Florida, many people living with HIV are aging. We are managing more than just HIV. We're managing multiple medications, multiple conditions, and long-term health concerns. A simplified regimen like this could mean less drug burden, fewer long-term side effects, and more flexibility in care. And that matters, especially for long-term survivors. But IDVYNSO is not for everyone. It is specifically for people who are already virally suppressed, who have no history of treatment failure, and no resistance to one of its key components. So this is what we call a switch option. It's not it's not a starting point. Now, like all medications, there are considerations. Some side effects reported in the trials include diarrhea, dizziness, fatigue, and headache. And there are important drug interaction warnings that providers will need to monitor. This is why conversations with your healthcare provider remain critical. IDVYNSO does not replace the treatments we already have. It just expands them. And for the LGBTQ+ community, which continues to be disproportionately impacted by HIV, every new option is a step forward. You know, I saw the story, and I just think it's very interesting because it really shows what progress looks like with a new medication. And these are medications that you're not finding in other drug regimens. And we talk about 3-drug regimens, 2-drug regimens. We've got injectables. It's just another option for people. And it's very important to note when you're looking at people that they have to be undetectable. They have to not had where they didn't go off their medications and then they got back on it and they didn't have adherence issues. Yep. So those are very specific people that they're going to be looking at for this drug.
You know, we usually have stories on people losing their coverage or people not being able to stay on the regimen that they were accustomed to be on. This is a medical win. This is something that we need to celebrate, right? You know, I know that there's a million questions, right? You know, how can someone get it? You know, is insurance going to cover it? Is it going to be one of those meds that cost so much and none of our insurance cover it? What's the point? You know, but at the end of the day, less pills, less stress. That's what we want.
Right, exactly. And that's a good thing, especially as we're aging. You know, drugs we know interact with all kinds of things, our kidney, our liver, heart. And so
other meds.
And you're combining that. And in our gay community, when we're, dealing with things like erectile dysfunction drugs and people using inhalants, for sex, or we're doing chemsex, how do those interplay in with all the drugs that they're taking? So those are very important things to have that conversation with your provider to let them know what you're doing, how you're engaging in sex, if you're using any type of drugs whatsoever, is going to be very important in this.
Yes, it is. You say this is tenofovir-free, but that's not an indictment of. We're not trying to get people off of tenofovir. I just don't want people to hear like, oh, tenofovir is bad. This is just an option too, correct?
Another option.
Yeah, another option.
Thank you.
So I think it's just and we're going to see more and more. There are more things in the pipelines that I've heard from different drug companies that we're going to be seeing over time. A lot more different options, and the idea is to give people what works for them and their care. Because as we try to move towards the cure, so to speak, for HIV, what do people really think the cure is? Is the cure meaning that they no longer have to take anything? Does it mean they only take something once a year and they consider that a cure? It's about quality of life, and that's what we're really
It's about living and thriving with HIV,
exactly.
But as a whole, we've come a long way from AZT or whatever that it was back in the 90s.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's hope.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you do on this front, because, as a member of the community, I feel like I'm a little bit more aware than the average.
Right.
But I learn everything from you. This program, I don't see this really covered of all the topics that you cover on this show. So thank you for doing all of the research. Like, you know, I every time you speak, I listen, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You like that? Every time you speak, he listens.
listen.
Watch out. Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
Sincerely.